Morning VC, felt like jumping on making a video today, so I've got a bunch of records here to show. Kind of made a little bit of the rounds around town in the last few weeks, so we'll kind of show you what I've been playing lately. Is mostly this stuff that I just picked up. I had just a few come in the mail. Billy Bang Sextet featuring Frank Lowe, Sweet Space on Anima Productions from 1979. A big one on my want list. It popped up on Instagram at Cabin Floor Records in Greenville. Called Joe up down there, and he gladly sent it my way. It was much cheaper than Discogs, so I was very pleased about it, and it's a beautiful, fantastic copy. Billy Bang, of course, on the violin, Frank Lowe on the sax. Couple cool players on this, including Steve McCall on drums, who's a badass. Butch Morris on cornet. Curtis Clark on piano, underrated player. I've got a couple of his records on the Nimbus West label. If you ever see those, I'd recommend picking them up, and they're still cheap. There's your label. So some great free jazz, as you're accustomed to seeing on this channel to start things off. Happy to find that. And then this came in the mail. Teddy had sent me a video, and this was one of the records that was shown in that video. It was a video on John Tefteller, who I've been buying a few 78s from, and he showed off a lot of his rarest records, and he has an original 7-inch of this, and I didn't even know that this got put out in 2013 by Third Man and Jack White. Of course, he's going to be all over something rare like this, but it's from Sun Records, D.A. Hunt, Greyhound Blues, and Lonesome Old Jail 7-inch. Really great blues cut. Yeah, on Sun. It was originally released on a 78. Very, very rare record. There is a reproduction bootleg of this as well, but I went with this, which they did two pressings of. They did one that was like a color and one that's regular black. I just went for the regular black. It was very cheap. Damn good songs on this. Would love to find that 78, but happy to get that. Really good blues. Not sure what I was up to, but I just swung in to say hello to Luke at Premium Sound one day and found just a couple items there. The Clash, Give 'Em Enough Rope, a Clash record I did not have. This is really good. I really dig the A side too on this. Yeah, just didn't have it. I think their second record, and it's a repress of some variety, not an early press on the. It's not on the orange label, but it's the Black Epic label. But this sounds really good. This was a nice copy. Joe Strummer and crew. Been getting into more of the Clash stuff lately, so some punk there. Then I found this in the tapes, and I didn't notice it until I got home, but the Cramps Flame Job, I didn't have this record, and so I grabbed this for the boombox, but it's hard to tell, but it's a gold stamped promo copy, which was very interesting. So we grabbed that. I love the Cramps. Great rockabilly stuff, rock and roll. And then I went through the 7-inches, and he had two that jumped right out at me because I'd never seen them before, and they're Nurse with Wound 7-inches, which is just something you never run across. And so I grabbed one of them, the Sinister Senile EP. Not something you really see in the States hardly ever. I don't think there's any for sale in the States. You can probably get it from overseas. But there's the back. Two songs. The A side is fantastic. Very experimental, but really, really good. Here's what the label looks like. It's on shock. From 1990. And then there's a live performance on the B side that's really out there and strange, with some people speaking some crazy shit over the noise. But yeah, I dig the A side a lot. So at the moment I'm holding on to this. This might end up with Brandon Faust in the head, maybe. We'll see. Turns out Luke's got a bunch of nursewood wounds, so I'm trying to hook Brandon up with him. And yeah, I think that's all that I got at Premium Sound. I think I went into Lunchbox one night, and all I got was this CD for $7, brand new, sealed. Beasty Boys, Ill Communication. I had seen the Sabotage live video pop up, and I forgot how badass these guys were on their instruments, and I fucking love that cut. And I used to have all the Beastie Boys on CD. I pretty much took my whole rap section one time into the old Lunchbox and sold it all. So I wanted to pick this up for the car, and get this back into the collection. And it was interesting, when I was in there, the girl Maddie that works there said, "Oh, did you know the box set's coming out tomorrow?" Because I was in there Thursday night. I was like, "No," and she showed it to me. It's got this incredible cover, the way they did the box set. It's like 3D, but it's $114. I was like, well, I think I'm good with a $7 CD over a $114 box set, even though it's fancy and all. But yeah, this is probably my favorite Beastie Boys. I love Paul's Boutique, don't get me wrong, but this, I love Ill Communication, especially some of the instrumental cuts on this. Really fucking dope. Grand Royal. That's going in the car. Let's see, what do we got next? It had been a hell of a long time since I had gone down the road from work to dip into Hardy Boys at Camp North End. It's been a few months. I haven't been in there. And I did see that they had posted online one record that I was going in there to look for, to just hope it had survived. And I was pleasantly surprised. We'll get to that one here at the end of what I found there. But the first thing I found in the new arrivals was Black Sabbath's first record, which I got an original US from Dylan not too long ago. The reason I picked this up was two things. The cover is in beautiful shape. It's on the NEMS label, and I look on the back, and it's printed in Holland, so it's a Netherlands pressing, or so I thought. So I look at the record, and I was surprised to see a green label Warner Brothers in there, and it's a 1970 original US. So this is a Frankenstein copy. It was cheap, I think because of that. So I grabbed it. Fucking sounds, I mean, there's a little bit of surface noise at the beginning of side A, none on side B, and of course, you know, this is so heavy it gets overpowered. What a great sounding record. I've never heard or had any of the Vertigo copies of Sabbath. I'm sure they sound good too, but with, you know, Bob Bradley's Shootout, I don't know how you beat the green label. I mean, goddamn, it's a good sounding recording. So yeah, kind of random. I kind of want to. I've looked at the NEMS. They have a black label. I kind of want to un-Frankenstein this and get a US cover for the record and a Netherlands press for the jacket. But we'll see if I do that. Looking at doing that is probably going to cost probably $100. Which is stupid, so we'll just keep that as is, probably. This was a record I had been looking for 5 or 6 years. Mark Lanegan band, Gargoyle. This was pressed in Spain, I believe, on Pius from 2017, and So I rarely see this record. I love Mark Lanigan, rest in peace. Um, and this one's a little different than some of the others because it's leans a little more electronic in the music, but there's just some really good guitar playing on this, and Mark's vocals are some of the best you're ever going to hear in rock. Nocturne, probably my favorite track on this. The second track, really good. Um, yeah, 10 songs. It's a gatefold with all the lyrics inside. Up and fancy. I'll show you that. It's a 180 gram, real heavy duty piece of vinyl on plain labels. But I think there were only 2 or 3 pressings of this, all in 2017, so it has not been reissued that I have seen. And that was a good price too, so it was only 20 bucks or so. So I was happy to grab that for the Mark Lanigan collection. And then this, I debated on this, and I definitely made the wrong call. It happens at times. I love this band so much that I took a chance on this, and it wasn't expensive or anything. But it's a European bootleg of a Soundgarden live performance from 1990. It says radio broadcast all over it, and it's a horrible cover. It's stupid looking cover. From 2019. Is when it was pressed, but it's Beyond the Wheel, so it's all the old stuff from like Ultra Mega OK and prior, and it closes with my favorite Soundgarden song, Beyond the Wheel. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna get this. Being one of my favorite bands, the sound on this is horrendous. So if you ever see this, do not get it. This is gonna be sold, or God, I almost considered throwing it in the garbage can. It's that fucking bad, the sound quality. You can't make out the lyrics hardly at all. There's way too much bass in everything. It's just overwhelmingly horrible. So there's that. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose with records. But I did win big on this one. This is the one I was hoping they still had, and they actually had 3 copies, sealed dead stock, of this ESP disc title, The Holy Motor Rounders, Indian War Whoop. Stereo copy. There were 3 original pressings from 1967. And this is there's I can't remember what color label, I think a white label, and then there is a yellow label. So this was sealed, I unsealed it, and to my surprise, a couple things. One, it's the yellow label, which is a little rare, and it was super flat. Very pleased because the shrink wrap was on there pretty tight, so I was worried about it possibly being warped. There were 3 copies. I picked this one out, and it also had the Pearls Before Swine poster that they inserted into a lot of records. Really great artwork on this. And I have it in a couple others that I've gotten sealed over the years on ESP disc, but this was a big one for the collection. Musically, not my favorite. All this freak folk stuff. This one's really experimental. The drummer's really good in this band, and the violin, it's electric fiddle, actually, is good on this from Peter Stamfeld. I'm not into the weird bantering vocals on this at times, but there's some good cuts on this. And so yeah, to find an original ESP disc, and that was $19.99. And he's got 2 more copies. I wish the owner was there so I could ask him where he found those. I'd love to know if he's got any more sealed ESP disc lying around. So that was Hardy Boys. They had a couple of really rare records in there, extremely expensive. They did have, I didn't find any jazz. Jazz is kind of slim pickings around town lately. they had a Natural Information Society, Joshua Abrams record. One I didn't recognize. I have to look it up, but it was $70. It's like I'm not giving you $70. It's not that old, you know. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they didn't press many of them. I'm not sure if it was an Aramite release or not. So yeah. And then yesterday morning, I decided that I would go and see an old friend who I hadn't seen in maybe a year or so. I ran into him at the Who concert, and not the Who from England, the Who from Mongolia, at the Fillmore. Jack Marble. On my channel, he's actually in the first video I ever made on YouTube 16 years ago. Live video, band he was in with a couple of friends of mine. And he runs a shop, Mad Jack's, and it's comic books, a lot of records, CDs. I think he's got jewelry in there. He's got a bunch of stuff in there. And I'd never been up there. And Art, the vinyl picker, NC Vinyl Picker's been talking about maybe going in there sometime. I think he may have been there once before, maybe not. But I'd never been in there. So I thought I'd go scope it out. So next time he comes down, I think we'll dip in there. There's definitely some records I think he would be interested in there. And his prices vary from really good to pretty high on some stuff. There's some good records in there. And so I went through everything, and I got, 4 records. The first is definitely one of the most interesting. I found this in this. He had 2 boxes of 7 inches, and I found this in there. Neil Young, and this is a 1974 Spain pressing. So it was pressed in Madrid by Hispavox, and released by Reprise. And it's the names of the titles are all in Spanish on it, and in Spanish on the back, but it does have English below. So the first track on the A side is Time Fades Away, and then on the B side is The Last Trip to Tulsa. And I mean to tell you, that B side shreds. Oh man! But it's Neil Young. He's not singing in Spanish or anything. These are the Neil Young cuts. Yeah, and in beautiful shape. Sounds absolutely perfect. Clean this, played this. This is getting played again today. This is fantastic. I'm not that big on the piano on Time Fades Away on the A side. Still a great song. The B side is so fucking good. Last Trip to Tulsa. Yeah, 1974 Neil Young 7-inch from Spain. Yeah, El Tiempo se esfuma. Time Fades Away. Very fucking cool find. I'd never seen this before. And then another 7-inch that I was very stoked to find. I collect this band's 7 inches. Man or Astro Man, Deluxe Men in Space, from 1996, original on Touch and Go. This sounds incredible. It's in pretty much brand new condition. I jammed this yesterday too. These guys are from Auburn, Alabama. We got a guy here mowing the yard. I apologize. Great label. And really good surf style riffs on this. Just really good rocking stuff. And they're still playing, and a friend of mine, Samantha, plays guitar with them now. She was in a couple of bands in Athens, Georgia. We versus the Shark, great band. But she moved to Seattle, but she gets to go on tour with these guys every now and again. Great fucking band, Man or Astro Man. But they play Georgia quite a bit, being from Alabama. Always have really cool covers and everything like that. Sorry about the mowing. Needs to be done. And then I grabbed a couple classic rock titles just because that's what he mostly carries there. And this is one I had on my mind about picking up. Big Brother and the Holding Company, Cheap Thrills. Of course, Janis Joplin. Classic record, one I've never had. The great cover. Love the inner shot there of the live performance. Still has the original insert, and this is a first pressing stereo 2i. He had 3 copies of this record. The other 2 were the later press, and they were all the same price, $14. So I was very happy to grab this. It's in perfect shape. As far as the record's concerned, great jams, of course, approved by the Hells Angels in Frisco. Thought that was, I love that. Fantastic LP. And just one I've never had in the collection. This is one I brought back in. Black Sabbath, Paranoid. This is it took me a while to find which pressing this was on Discogs. My fucking God. I think there's like almost 700. This has been released almost 700 times in one way or the other. But I had to go by like the numbers and everything. So it's a 1971 US club pressing. I think the original UKs were released in 1970, and I think the first time it was released in the US was 71. But it's a club pressing, green label, and it sounds incredible. Really, really happy to get this. This was like 20 some bucks. Yeah, all the best songs on this: War Pigs, Paranoid, Fairies Wear Boots, Iron Man. Yeah, this is probably my favorite Sabbath record. I love the first side of the first record, but this is really fucking good. And I've seen Sabbath a bunch of times. I had Ozzy dump a bucket of water on my head and drop, so I ended up dropping 2 beers to the ground. I've told that story a million times. But yeah, I just felt like doing a finds video, so there you go. Peace.